Welcome to the Whole Truth, Nothing But the Truth podcast. I'm your host, Jason Gerard, and welcome to episode 6. Yeah. Thank you for rolling with me. Now, for those of you all who don't know, we talk life, love, and everything in between here. There is no judgment zones here. We talk about the real deal and the real deal only. Now, if you haven't watched episodes 1 through 5, then shame on you. I'm going to need you to go ahead and go to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe, hit the like, and get ready to get into the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and catch up on episodes 1 through 5. We are also on Spotify. I'm just saying, you can listen while you drive. I'm just, throwing that out to you. Now, we're going to do a quick recap of last episode. Now, last episode, we talked career-ish. All the truth they never told us in our 20s. Now, today, we're getting into something deeper. We talking love, and not that Hallmark version, the real version. The love that nobody talk about. We're going to talk about love without the bullshit. Now, let's be real. In 2025, people don't fight for love anymore. They walk away at the first sign of inconvenience and call it peace and protecting their boundaries. Now, I am guilty of doing such, but I'm learning. I have learned. I have evolved. I have taken accountability, and wanting to do better. You know what I mean? And so what I've come to realize now is so much of the culture today is on situationships. It's so much easier to stay in a situationship compared to actually giving your heart to someone and being vulnerable and experiencing the highs and lows of love. In situationships, therefore, convenience, temporary fixes, and we know what temporary fixes are, whether they be physical, temporary fixes, or because you just need what you need. I mean, can we talk? You know what I'm saying? Or other times it could be just wanting some company. You get bored and you texting because you bored, and you look up and now you in a situationship with somebody, and it's like, how did I get here? Because I was just bored and wanted someone to talk to, or even further than that, sometimes you're just gonna kind of go on a date or whatever. But knowing ultimately, I guess my point is knowing ultimately this isn't what you want or who you want, I should say. You're only there for the moment. So you're kind of using this person. And I guess on certain levels, maybe we're using each other. It's a transactional thing. You know what I mean? Because even further than that, you go to the physical side of things, and situationships more often than not can be based on the physical. In my experience, I'm just going to keep it a buck. In my experience, I've experienced more situationships that were based on the physical alignments of sex, more so than really getting to know one another, really caring about one another. And so you look up and you have more bodies than you have hearts. No shade, no tea. That's just the reality of things. Call a thing a thing. I'm not judging or anything like that, because if I were to judge, I would need to have a mirror right in front of me. Hello. You know what I'm saying? But it's the real thing. You know what I'm saying? And so now realizing that, or I won't say realizing, but I feel like some of us just don't believe in love anymore. And I don't know if that's because we've been hurt or we just busy and we don't have the time for it, or we too playa, or what. But I think the ultimate goal should be to find love, to find someone that gets you and wants to hear about your every day. And I long for that. Did I say long for that? I did. I long for the days of having, someone care about my day and the things that upset me and the things that make me happy and things of that nature. I just recently, let's talk. Why not? I don't care. Um, they should have done the right thing. I don't care. So, I just recently kind of got out of something that I now realize was a situationship, and it left me really kind of perplexed because low key, I think I got ghosted, and I'm not really sure why. You see the material. I'm just saying. Let me say it louder for the people in the back because I'm not ashamed. I think I got ghosted, and I'm not sure why. And you see the material. I'm just saying, I'm not going to get up or nothing, but y'all like the sweater, the shirt on me today? It's a pretty color. I thought it was cute, but I got ghosted, and I didn't understand why because I had been communicating what was my truth. I had been available. I thought I created a safe space of vulnerability for us to be able to speak our truths. And, I look up and I guess things were becoming too hot in the kitchen and they decided to exit the kitchen. And the only problem I have with that is that no one told me. I'm still in the kitchen. I'm looking around. I'm trying to find out what happened. I thought we was going to flip the potatoes, not potatoes, flip the pancakes and stuff. I'm standing in here alone now. What happened? And, I'm over it now. I'm getting over it. It is what it is. I'm so player. You know what I'm saying? But see, even me, by default, I go right back into what I know because it's like, okay, well, nobody about to tear me down. But at the same time, in your heart of hearts, I know what I want. I know where I want to be. You know what I mean? Where I wanna be. Come on, Donnell Jones. I know I ain't gonna sing it right now. But Donnell Jones, Where I Wanna Be. That was a different kind of song though, because he was actually breaking up with someone. You just don't treat them bad. Oh, how I feel so sad now that I wanna leave. Oh, child, that's my Jesus. So I guess that's maybe not the right song to sing for this. But but I know where I want to be, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that you meet people and they're not willing to fight for love. You know what I mean? They're not willing to fight for a chance. They're not willing to fight for the opportunity to find something great. The moment it gets hard, the moment there is discomfort, we're out of there. You know what I mean? And, I've dealt with people and they've told me, well, I don't like conflict and I don't really like to argue. Well, you gonna argue here. We gonna have some conflict. I didn't mean to pop up like that, but I'm just saying, that really kind of pisses me off because with love, there's conflict. We're going to have conflict every day. It's not strawberries and champagne. And if you think for half of a second that there's not going to be moments where you're on someone's nerves or vice versa, whatever the case may be, or where we just bump heads, it's a false reality to think that, well, I just want to be in a relationship and we just don't have, I just don't believe in conflict. Well, you're going to have some conflict or you're going to be by your damn. I'm just, if 1 + 1 is 2 and 2 + 2 is 4, I mean, so, I think that's a really big thing, nowadays, and pride and ego. Again, because my pride just kind of popped out and my ego just kind of popped out here for a second because, sometimes you have to let them know because, you do see the material. I'm just saying, the gall of someone thinking they was going to ghost me. I've let it go. I'm over it. I'm just saying, but, you could never come back, No tea. Actually, all tea, all shade, all offense. Shout out to Nikki. Minaj, the queen. But, I think even with that, like culture shifts and it's like you move on very quickly with no repair, no closure, no conversations. We just, no, okay, bye. And that's that. And I just don't think that that's right. We're all afraid to be hurt. I'm afraid to be hurt. I'm afraid to be let down. I am afraid to give my all to someone only to find out that I gave it to a loser, a lame, a liar, a jerk. I am afraid of doing that, but I could sit and be afraid for the rest of my life, or I could get out there and give it a try. You know what I mean? And try for love. I won't say I'm a hopeless romantic. I don't know. I grew up in the 90s, where they used to really sing, about love, down on bended knee. Oh, Lord Jesus, down on bended knee. The men used to sing. Men used to really sing about love and didn't care how they looked. If they messed up, they messed up. They was going to swallow my pride, I've turned on my fingers. I don't know the words, so, judge your mama. But, they used to really sing hard for love back then. And it's like now people are just afraid. And I think that it's just getting really old, at least for me, it's getting really old where I'm wanting to explore more options. I'm wanting to try again. Like I said, I've experienced situationships. I think I'm still in a situationship that's kind of I'm not going to give y'all all of that, but, situationships are just seems to be where we land nowadays for convenience, and we choose to meet one need opposed to trying to meet more than one need. You know what I mean? And even that is just a temporary thing. And I know someone now that I had been dealing with, and they're perfectly fine in a situationship type of environment. And no matter the time that we have spent together, the time that we have not spent together, they're perfectly fine with it just being what it is. And while that may work for some, the older that I'm getting, that doesn't work for me. As I mentioned earlier, I need substance. I want some depth. I want to be able to talk. I want to be able to have my person. That's what I want. I want my person. Every day it's not strawberries and champagne, but at least I can go through it with you. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Because even with it, it's like, you can't ask for real love if you're not willing to show the real you. You can't ask for real love if you're not willing to show the real you. You have to be vulnerable with people. And I feel like we're in a space now where no one wants to be vulnerable. No one wants to let their guard down. No one wants to say, hey, you hurt my feelings. Hey, I feel differently. Or hey, this or hey, that. We don't get a lot of vulnerability these days. It's more acceptable to be cold-hearted, and to be this, I know you probably hate me. I can't think of her song. Oh my God, I want to sing this song. Don't take it personal. No, what's the words? I can't think of the words. God dang it, I can't even think of her name now. But it's a song that says, don't take it personal. I do this to everyone. God, I can't think of her name. It's going to drive me insane that I can't share that with you guys. But even with being vulnerable, you have to be accountable. Like being okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. We can get past it. I don't look forward to being wrong or anything like that. But if I really cut for you, I like you, and we're trying to establish something, and hey, I dropped the ball. It's my L to take. I'm going to take that L if it means I can keep you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to swallow my pride and dip it on fingers. I don't know the words of bended knee when he got to the bridge and he was singing his goddamn it off. But I'm just saying, nobody's swallowing pride. Ain't nobody dead on no bended knee. Why not? Why you not on the bended knee? I would be on the bended knee. If it was someone out there that I was loving and wanting to be hugging, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I just feel differently. And I feel like people don't fight for love. You know what I'm saying? And like, fighting for love doesn't mean staying in toxic shit. It means you've got something real and you don't want to go without it. You don't want to lose it. I'm not saying fight for bullshit. I'm saying fight for love. We got a good thing here. Why would we just throw it away over something that we could just, hey, let's talk about this. Okay, I was wrong. You was wrong. Okay, whatever. You know what? Fuck it. Let's move on. What's Thank you. What's hard about that? What's hard about that? And so what I've learned in over 40, as I've gotten older, I've learned that there's strength in vulnerability. There's strength in being accountable. That doesn't lessen your value because you're being vulnerable with someone, you're fighting for someone. Like if you text me and I have my phone in my hand, I am not going to wait 3 hours to text you back because I'm trying to look busy. I'm going to text you back because I like you. Like, what's hard about that? But it seems like so often people want to play these games and these roles and be everything but real. And it's going to keep you everywhere but with somebody that you love. You know what I mean? Like, I have lived a lot of life. I know what it is to look for love in all the wrong places because it keeps you in all the wrong places. Shout out to Dorinda Clarkola. I'm still here. I'm still here. Okay. I'm sorry. That was a lot. But I know what it is to look for love in all the wrong places, and I know what it is to want to be loved, for who you are opposed to who you're not. You know what I mean? And so my goal now in my 40s is to find love, and hold on to it and fight for it and nurture it and care for it, and not spend the rest of my days trying to be Mr. Ego and not let anyone in and knowing how bad you want to be with someone. That doesn't help anything, and so I've had to unlearn a lot and relearn what love feels like without all the noise. You know what I mean? I've had to really take stock in myself and really unlearn a lot of behaviors that I had that were ultimately trying to protect myself and protect my heart. I'd been hurt and I'd become the people who'd hurt me. And what good is that going to do? I looked up and I was the same person who hurt me, and the same people, I should say, culminated into this being who is too cold to hold, and in control. And I don't have no songs for y'all today. That was Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel, but I don't know where. I too cold to hold. What they call it? They call it a Ghostbuster because I'm in control. I ain't got it today. But what I do get is a recap. Now, love without bullshit means honesty, vulnerability, and willingness to fight for something real. That's what it means. It's not about all the facades. We take Instagram pictures, but we hate each other in real life, or we having sex, but we don't even kiss, or we don't look each other in the eyes, or like the list goes on to so many little nuances that separate situationship cultures and things like that to actually real love and real relationship and real connection. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm even thinking about getting on the dating apps. Now, no sex apps, because I know those apps, but some real apps. Now, I talked to a friend of mine and he gave me a couple of apps to try out because that's just where I'm at right now. I really want to give love a chance, and I'm hoping that it'll give me one in return. So now, with that being said, I do have a question for you guys. Now, do you think people fight for love anymore? Or are we all too quick to walk away? Do you think people fight for love anymore? Or are we all too quick to walk away? I want to hear from you. You know what to do. Put it in the comments because I know I ain't the only one. Now, that's all I got for today. Tune in next time for episode 7, where we talk about healing and why nobody told us it hurts so bad. This has been the Whole Truth, Nothing But the Truth podcast, where we talk life, love, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jason Gerard, and until next time, bye.